Hear and see me. I'm going to share my presentation now. And welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be speaking on justice tech, innovations in digitising law. So Fiona Kirkman, I'm, as Natasha said, co-CEO and legal founder of both Family Property and Law Switch, which are legal tech startups here in Australia. So thank you for the mention of Australia, Adeline, and setting the scene of the Australian market. You can see I've got a beach background. Unfortunately, I'm not at the beach, but I'll be sharing a little bit about access to justice in Australia and our product Family Property and how innovation in e-justice is helping provide access to justice. So my background, I am an accredited specialist in family law here in Australia. I'm also a family dispute resolution practitioner mediator, and I do continue to have my own practice, Kirkman Family Law, which specialises exclusively in family mediation. So what is access to justice? I'm sure you'll hear a lot about access to justice during this series, but just a brief introduction to it. It's about ensuring appropriate legal services are provided to the population for those that would otherwise find it difficult to get access to justice. And if we look worldwide, it's probably about 80%, at least in the US and UK, where there's unmet legal needs. And I think it's a similar stat here in Australia and worldwide. But the question is, what is technology and innovation doing to bridge the gap for those that don't have access to justice? And I believe that access to justice apps are really helping to revolutionise and really a game changer in access to justice for individuals who really would have otherwise little or no ability to obtain legal assistance. So today I'm going to focus on access to justice in family law matters. It's a serious problem worldwide, and it's historically been an area that many people end up traversing with little to no legal system. It's also very stressful, time-consuming, very costly, a lot of uncertainty, and it's an area that people are very cautious about. It does affect a lot of people worldwide. Here in Australia, you're looking at about 40 to 50% of relationships ending in divorce or separation. When we drill down to that impact and the problem, when we look at the stressful element, it's a very emotional area of law. There's the emotional grief process of sort of denial and shock, that they are separating, anger and blame, which can lead to there can be separated, instigated family and domestic violence. Here in Australia, unfortunately, family and domestic violence is rife. We have 2 in 5 assaults. 2 in 5 assaults are family and domestic violence related, and homicides and assaults usually occurring in a residential location, i.e. the home. It's an area that I know the government here is trying to tackle, and it's a worldwide problem, which a lot of legal tech products are looking to assist address as well. Also, in the grief process, there's often a lot of depression and sadness and stress and mental health issues. Again, sadly, suicide and self-harm are quite rife in family-related matters. And I know here in Australia, there's been an increase in suicide over the last few years, particularly amongst males. So that's another problem in the family law system, and that can be these issues of family and domestic violence and suicide and self-harm can be further impacted if the families don't have access to adequate legal assistance. And when we talk about delays, family law in Australia, and I think worldwide, we're seeing a significant increase in family law matters. This year's been the highest in over 5 years. And sadly, there's quite a lot of delays in the court system. In Australia, 1/4 of cases in the Australian family law courts are still pending an outcome after 2 years. So that's parenting issues, financial issues that are being litigated with no result for a period of 2 or more years. When we look at costs in family law, that is also a significant problem. It's not uncommon for a family here to spend, say, 1/4 to even 1/2 or more of their asset pool on lawyers. So they might have a small asset pool, or a large asset pool, but they're paying sometimes 200,000 Australian dollars, which might be about 1/4 to 1/2 of their asset pool. And that's been criticised even by the judges here as obscenely high, how family court costs are destroying parents and their children. And sometimes there's the culture of bitterness and adversarial system and aggression that is meaning that the costs are often increasing in these emotionally driven family law matters. Unavailability of legal aid is also an issue that's a worldwide problem. In Australia, as in most Commonwealth jurisdictions, there's been a significant decline of legal aid over the years, and a large portion of people do not qualify for legal aid. And there's therefore a missing middle of legal services. Statistically in Australia, people who start off may be represented. By the end of a trial, that triples the number of self-represented litigants. So as the matter gets more complex and more adversarial, sometimes there's these people who don't have access to legal assistance for the trial. And lastly, uncertainty of outcome. In Australia, there's a discretionary system with family law financial matters being discretionary. There's no formulaic approach, and that's quite common worldwide, which makes it very uncertain as to the likely outcome, which are all issues that impact on the access to justice in family law. And what often means that most divorcing couples find it difficult, particularly in financial separations, to go about resolving their family law matter without adequate legal advice. I see there's a couple of questions. I might leave the questions until the end, and I'll hopefully cover some of the questions at the end. Enter justice tech. So I just want to touch on a couple of e-justice technology here in Australia. And just as an example, as Adeline said, there's a rise in access to justice, not only in family law, but in immigration law, in other areas that people find it difficult to access information. Some of these Justice Connect. So Justice Connect helps people and community groups connect with free help, so everyone can have a better chance of gaining the right information. So I've seen in Australia, and I think worldwide, more online questionnaires and a matching of services from those that need legal help to not-for-profit organisations such as Legal Aid and community legal centres, etc., that can provide legal help for people in need. So access to justice is built on a standard questionnaire and linking the two groups. When we look at others, Legal Aid, interestingly, it's built on the blockchain, and Legal Aid is really revolutionising and reinventing access to justice. As it says here, there's the greatest demand for legal aid help in human history, and our current justice system isn't equipped to cope. It's really a justice crisis. And so what is happening? There's 5 billion live without access to justice. As it says here, 85% of American litigants self-represented. And what Legal Aid does is it's actually crowdfunding the legal cases that matter and providing access to litigants, to lawyers that are passionate about providing legal assistance in these areas. So again, an innovative approach where people can be connected with those who are willing to donate to worthy legal cases that are fighting for social justice, with those who need the help so that they can submit a case, to those lawyers that are perhaps willing to do pro bono cases or to offer these legal assistance. We then have the rise of video conferencing, and particularly in COVID time and with lockdowns. I know here in Australia we've had significant lockdowns in various states, and that has led to a rise of video conferencing platforms. This is one that we partner with, Mediation, and a Mediation, their mandate is to catalysing justice, and it's really a new ecosystem for public and private justice with dispute technology and resolution for our times. So really its aim, it is a video conferencing platform, but again, it's connecting not just video conferencing and case management, but connecting individuals who, for example, need family law assistance with an expert family law panel who can provide that assistance by way of mediation, arbitration, etc. And lastly, I want to obviously discuss family property and what we're doing in the access to justice space, both in our professional platform and in some of the projects that we're working on. I'll just take a moment and see if there's any questions. Yes, we've got somebody commenting there's additional funding concerns with recent federal policy proposing the abolishing the family court, and how might that add to existing access to justice issues. So in Australia, there's a big family law review on foot and a family law inquiry, and they're also looking at whether to abolish the family court and go back to a generalist court, and whether that can provide access to justice. And there's a lot of commentary around that. So interested to get your perspective on that, Patrick, and I might come to that at the end if we have time. So family property provides a platform that delivers a massive efficiencies, resulting in what we believe to be significant cost and time savings for parties, and helping to provide access to justice. Share my screen again. With family property, we have four main pillars, one with intakes, and I'll briefly show you the intake component today. But you'll see that there has been a rise, particularly in COVID times, on the increase of online chatbots, which LawSwitch, our chatbot platform, integrates with family property, as well as online intake questionnaires. And these we're seeing are being increasingly used by law firms to be sent out to clients to gather the information in relation to their situation. I'll show you what that looks like shortly. Disclosure. So again, gone are the days with COVID that we can do snail mail, and even by post can be problematic in COVID times. And email is often such a cumbersome process, can be quite disorganised, with emails going backwards and forwards between parties exchanging documents. The new way of exchanging documents, which I think we'll see particularly during and post-COVID, is secure portals to exchange documents, and that's one of the features we've built out in family property, to be able to not only collect the documents from the client and disclose them to the other side, but an easy way for the other party, without even having a family property subscription, to upload the documents back into that same portal. So this two-way disclosure approach to securely review and disclose documents and then auto-index those documents, saving you a significant amount of time in having folders and folders of documents and manually typing out that index. Thirdly, the third pillar with family property is which is quite unique and really at the heart of family property, is an interactive balance sheet, which is similar to an Excel spreadsheet on steroids. It's really the only that we've seen in the family law industry where you can auto-calculate all of the figures, so the percentages, and then you can model and compare proposals at a click of a button. You can have sub-asset pools, you can have documents attached to the balance sheet, you can have dates attached, etc. And it's really easy to model, for example, what's a 50-50 overall property settlement split, what does 60-40 look like, what does 70-30, who's keeping what. Really visual tool to help look at property settlement division. And lastly, document automation, and that's what we'll briefly showcase today as well, how document automation can be used to automatically populate court forms and other documents. So intakes, I've talked briefly about that. Automate lead generation, an inquiry chatbot. The benefit of chatbots and intake, online intake, it's available 24/7. I'll showcase that briefly now with a video. So hopefully you can hear that. Please tell me, Natasha, if there's an issue hearing the video.
Hi, I'm Tim from LawSwitch, and I'm going to show how automated chatbots can help provide access to justice by automating some of the real manual steps in a family law situation. This is a typical family laws website, and here you can see there is a chatbot that is ready to engage with people that visit this firm. If I launch it, you can see that this will now engage in an automated conversation. It's designed to help me to understand my situation. So first of all, it starts by introducing the firm, and I can click I'm ready to proceed with the conversation. I then am prompted to enter in my name, and then it asks whether I am inquiring in relation to my family law matter or just a general inquiry. I'm going to say family law matter in this case. And then because of that question and how I answered it, it's now telling me that it needs to ask 4 standard questions in relation to my current situation so that it can understand the key points of my situation. So first of all, it's asking for me to describe my current relationship status. And so I'm going to select divorce as an example. And then the next question is, are there any parenting issues that I might need to consider? And so I can answer yes, no or complicated. I'm going to answer yes to this. Then it's asking if there is any financial issues to consider, such as assets. And again, I might say yes, because there might be a family home and other assets that might need to be considered. And then it's asking for my ex-partner's name, which I'm going to enter as well. So that's so that the firm can do a conflict check. Finally, it's asking for a little bit of contact details. For instance, my email address, which I'm just going to put in there, and a contact number, which I can also enter. And so thanks, Tim, all done. And then it's going to pass that inquiry through and submit that through to the firm here. And so as you can see, that's completely automated and has started to already gather the information around my particular situation. And the great thing about this chatbot, it's automatically integrated with another platform called Family Property, which is an expert system designed to help firms and law professionals manage family property matters. So for instance, if I go into my family property dashboard now and refresh that, I'll see that it's already set up a new matter here for this person. And I can click on this, and as a professional, I can see that this information has gone through into this intake questionnaire, which is broken into 10 sections to help me really quickly and easily understand this person's legal situation and be able to start providing advice and support more quickly than I normally would if we went through the standard steps of engagement. So I hope this has given you a good, simple idea on how you can automate some of the legal processes that typically are done manually using a platform such as LawSwitch. Hi, I'm Tim from LawSwitch.
So I hope that showed you an example of how intakes can be used to, and chatbots can be used to gather information from clients. I'll just show you one other feature, which is balance sheet to property orders technology. So auto-calculating balance sheets that enable you to model, compare and save proposals. And then straight from the balance sheet, you can automatically draft property orders, saving significant time in drafting. So let's take a quick look. This is a 1 to 2 minute video, and then I'll give you an example of how this technology is being used to provide access to justice.
Hi, I'm Tim, and I'm going to show how you can go from a balance sheet to legal orders within seconds. As you can see here, I've got my balance sheet complete with assets, liability and superannuation funds. In family property, you can use these sliders here to visually model out the agreement that you would like to document, simply by moving these sliders either into one party's column or the other column, or somewhere in the middle to indicate that you would like to sell the item. So in this case, we're going to sell the family home and divide the proceeds 50-50 and discharge the mortgage. Alexander is going to retain his shares in Telstra and BMW, and also Antique Stamp and Coin Collection. And Sophie is going to retain her investment unit in Castle Hill and her Toyota Camry. Alexander is going to retain his personal Visa card, and the parties are each going to retain their own superannuation. And I can see here the family property auto calculates the entire agreement, complete with outcome. So now I'm ready to document this into a set of legal orders that I could then file with the court. So I click up here to documents, and then I'm going to generate consent orders. This will now generate a Microsoft Word document that is a complete set of consent orders. All the details are filled in for the parties. As I scroll down here to the consent orders, you can see here are the orders that define how the property is going to be sold and all the terms and conditions around how that's going to be executed. It's robust, it covers all of the different scenarios to do with the sale of this property. And you can also see here that there's information around how the proceeds are to be sold, and also clauses to handle scenarios such as who is going to pay for things like council rates and water rates and household bills while the property is pending sale. You'll also see that there's individual orders that have been drafted here for every other item, such as the investment property and the vehicles as well. There's also a set of complete orders at the bottom to cover the rest of the asset pool and the agreement details.
Thank you. So I hope that showcased to you how, again, access to justice with property orders being generated at a click of a button through the balance sheet, so saving significant time in drafting, and we're hoping to launch this to the general public in the future, but it is available for family lawyers and family mediators to use, again, saving significant costs in the drafting. So how family property is being used in Australia, we have partnered with a Legal Aid, so Legal Aid New South Wales, in their Commonwealth Property Mediation Pilot. This pilot is really aiming to improve access to justice to the family law system, specifically for women who are unable to afford private solicitors, but who might not qualify for a grant of legal aid. And the eligibility criteria specifically targets clients that are having difficulty due to experiencing family and domestic violence, disability, homelessness, and other vulnerabilities. In Australia, legal aid has been around for a long time, but in family law, it has predominantly been to assist parties with custody, parenting arrangements, not so much the financial separation. And what's been found through the Women's Economic Statement is if particularly women are not having access to a reasonable property settlement, for example, what we have as superannuation or a pension, one party may not have access to that, then they may be in a very significantly worse position than their male counterpart. So this is one of the projects that is happening in Australia at the moment, and we've partnered as a legal tech provider with Legal Aid New South Wales to really help streamline the process and have a mediator account, a lawyer party A account, and a lawyer party B account, all working together with a sync code to help streamline the information document collection and help the parties negotiate a property settlement. Family property, I'm excited will be part of the e-justice module of the Global Legal Technology and Innovation Certificate course that Jasmine earlier mentioned. In that course, we will be having a case study on a family law dispute, and we'll really deep dive in a case study as to how family property can be used in 4 areas, being the intake, disclosure, balance sheet, and document drafting. Questions? I see that there is a question there. What does the rate of adoption of legal tech in Australia look like today? And what are some of the biggest challenges firms face when trying to adopt legal tech, particularly in Australia? What we're finding here in Australia is, on the positive, the change management that probably would have taken another decade had it not been for COVID, has really been thrust upon us as legal professionals, and we have had to adapt and quickly to such things as video conferencing, online intake, online disclosure of documents. And I think that change management and the willingness to try new things and adapt has definitely improved over the last year. Having said that, lawyers in Australia and worldwide, I think we're type A personalities, perfectionists. So it is sometimes difficult to change what we're used to doing and adapt to new technologies. And I think that's a worldwide problem. And it does make it sometimes one of the biggest challenges, I think, in adopting the technology. I think innovators and early adopters are really keen to test the technology, but the general majority, it takes a little longer. But I do have hope that it is changing, and I think COVID has helped in that instance as well. Any other questions, or do you want to expand on that? The person who's asked that question. Just see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I might leave it there. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to reach out to us at Family Property. Yes, it is an Australian family law expert system, but we are in the near future looking to take it worldwide. Particularly, we've got an instance of family property for UK, Singapore, New Zealand, US, and really happy to talk to you if you are interested in learning more about family property. So thank you, Jasmine, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the speakers during the conference.